ready for me big scene, Mr. DeMille. So they said, but is it my eyes? Or does it look a bit, it doesn't look sharp tonight. Don't know what's going on there. Yeah, it might be me gogs. Hang on. I'm going to give them a quick clean. I don't even realise I'm live on YouTube half the time. So welcome. And I will say, I'll get to your comments in a moment, but I will say that please, anyone of a gentle disposition and or a weak stomach, or someone who gets easily offended or just isn't really made of any sterner stuff, Gen Zs and Gen As, off you go. I'd rather you didn't watch. If you don't know what the Battenberg's for, off you go. Not interested having you here. Why? Because this is for the critical thinkers. This channel is for people who know their potatoes. So, a friend of mine said, do you know the stuff that you're talking about, Adrian? Well, why don't you give a trigger warning? So, this is me trigger warning. Foxtrot Oscar. There's so much stuff going on in the world that to kind of, oh, Adrian, give me a cuddle. No, it makes me want to swear. So I am the irreverent reverend, and I do take my Sunday sermons seriously, which we will do this evening. So some of what I'm about to impart is not for the faint-hearted. So if you like cuddling and don't like what really is going on in the world, and you don't like insights into the corruption and to war and inside the world of showbiz, this is not for you. So Andrew James, before you get all red and angry, double A, Andrew, would I ever? I will explain why the pews have been removed. What do you mean, Andrew? The lads and I, that's the choir boys, obvs, removed them so we could play Runaround. Oh, the great Mike Reed. Now, there was proper TV. None of this malarkey that's going on with CBeebies. And on the plus side, hymn cards make great scorecards. Oh, you're defacing the hymn sheets, cards, whatever you want to call them. How could you, Andrew? But I was a fan of Runaround, so I might just let you off. Obviously, being a good Christian man, I will turn the other cheek. That's the other arse cheek in my case. GB Patriot. Oh, GB Patriot, welcome to the Body of the Kirk for this evening. Hope you read my email. Yes, I did, GB Patriot. Thank you for the explanation, and I will do something with that a little later. There is a comedy opening there, obviously, but it's been so busy today with lots of things going on. And isn't it funny, the establishment pump out the fated story to knock the Hugh Edwards story out of the headlines. Yeah, have you noticed that? Knock, knock. Who's there? Hugh who? Ah, well, that's the mainstream media for you. I nearly trashed that particular gag. And GB Patriot also said, fired story to knock the Hugh Edwards story. I meant, yeah, got it, GB Patriot. We are going to talk about Yoda this evening. What do you mean, Yoda? Who's he? Mohammed Fayed. Well, according to Paul Burrell, and I want to know how much he's been paid to just pop up and go, oh, Princess Diana didn't like him much. She was shagging his son, for crying out loud. Oh, did I say that out loud? Stuart says, Andrew, good thinking, moving the pews. We all need to run off the Battenberg and altar wine. Oh, can you imagine? Everyone's had a few snifters of the altar wine. Oh, we'll be all bashing and crashing into each other. I've been to those kind of parties. Weren't they the P. Diddy parties? Stuart says, oh, about the poll you put up earlier, double A. I am an upstanding member of this community, I'll have you know. I think all the streaming... Oh, yes. Oh, the poll as in P-O-L-L. Obviously, predictive text is just awful, woeful. I think all the streaming platforms like Netflix, Disney Plus, and Now TV have ruined the cinema. I know, I mean, I do, as a young boy in impoverished Sunderland, going to the cinema and sitting in those very posh seats was a thing of magic. And now, when you go to the cinema, is it magical? Do you go to an all singing, all dancing, where the sound is amazing, like an IMAX? Or as happened at the beginning of the noughties, everybody was buying like cinema TVs and cinema sound systems. Where have they gone? Thing that got my goat was, went to the cinema recently. Have you ever tried to buy popcorn nowadays? You've got to take a second mortgage out. It's like, was it £7? I mean, the food was more expensive than the actual tickets to get in. And I know that the popcorn makes them a shed ton of money, but I can nip down to me local and get a pound bag of salty, McSweety popcorn instead of having to go and flog me backside down at the local red light district to try and make the odd 10p. What do you mean? How much did I make last time? £5, 10p. What do you mean? Who paid the 10p? All of them! Andrew James says, does Wrongen have a cheerleader pom-pom? Oh, I say, don't kiss it. It might all kick off. I can borrow from me Toya tribute act. It's a myth to me. I promised to add more lisp in the set list. Oh, lovely. It's a myth the way. I mean, when I was watching her on TV, was it 1980 when she had I Want to Be Free and other bits and pieces? I didn't realise she was so small, even smaller than Rich Boy Sunak. Rusty Mouse is having a whale of a time with his keyboard, or her keyboard. I apologise, Rusty Mouse. Andrew James at BGP. Well, what the Walker Brothers once said, neither of them have no regrets. What's the first line of that? Whenever I can't remember. Viv in Darlow. Viv Kenyon. Howie, Rev. Ready, willing and able. I've heard the rumours, Viv. Bring it on and all the juicy goss. Oh, we've got a bit of that tonight, Viv in Darlow. Dan Brugger. Evening, ya wrong'uns. Samurai Cop. Hello, you wrong'un. And we go live. Good to see Nikki Watson in the body of the Kirk, and Leah and Lauren Taylor and Ghetto Defendant. Wigwam in the body of the whatchamacallit. Kirk. Scottish for church. It's the body of the Kirk, Ghetto Defendant. Pennine County's Evening Reverend. In the field, evening all. There's a wee nip in the air this evening. I can see both of them in the field. Can we afford to pop the heating on, Rev? Now, that was going to be my first question. Who's got the heating on? Hands up. Who's got the heating on? It's only September, man. Normally, it would be the weather turns about a week before or the week of Guy Fawkes Night, November 5th. But this time round, oi, 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 oi. I mean, I'm not walking. I'm from the north. What do you think this is? I'm from the north. So it must be called Pennine County's Evening Reverend. Evening, ya wrong'un. Alan and Vix Tex and Peter Sadler. Yeah, you're wrong. You weren't there on Wednesday. But good to have you in the body of the Kirk this evening. Neil Cunningham and Kathy Harper, Lottie Martin. Yeah, wrong'uns. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. And looks like Ray Norton's also here, and Fern and Rich and Alan and Stephen Hall. Cinema's so expensive now. It's not necessarily the cinema, in my view, honestly, personal view. It's the bloody food when you just fancy buying something and having a nibble. I mean, you can get a hot dog, £1.50 from Costco. I'm sure they nip round the back, buy a foot long from Costco, bring it back in and just charge you a tenner for it. Because everything's a tenner. As in, tenner lady. Toya is still so wonderful. Yeah, I haven't seen her on Strictly. Well, I'm one of the couple of million that's not watching it now. It was... I don't know. I just watched all the publicity during the summer and thought, oh, how do we end shite, man? I've got your game. I know what you're up to. Pauline Makepeace. She lives up the road from me. Toya. Does she, Pauline? Stuart says, I haven't been to the cinema since 2019. Oh, you tightwad. The next time I go will be 2026 when Toy Story 5 comes out. Bless you, Stuart. We pretty much have your level now. Which is, do you know, all the kids have got all the best films. You go there and they've got mucky gags in them. They've got mucky adult gags. The kids don't get it, but if somebody gets a pie in the face, gets a cream pie in the face, I'll leave it to you. It's a comedy opening. Or even a hairy pie in the face. The kids laugh their heads off. Yeah, we adults are sitting there going, what are the kids laughing at? But Toy Story, Woody, who would have believed it? I know you're leaving. It's too long overdue. What are you talking about, Neil? I think we've said hello to everyone. No heating being turned on in my house. Still got the back door open. Oh, Nikki, I would be very careful in this church to say that your back doors are open. Every time I close it, the bloody dog wants to go out. You and the whole street, Nikki. Stephen, remember ice cream in cinemas? I do. Do they? Oh, it's like in the theatre, darling. They send you all they give you these little cup of things with a plastic spoon or a wooden spoon in the top that takes Einstein to work out how to get it open. I love to sit there, watch the film, and give me twirly a lick. Ray Norton, I hear the Harmer has been doing a few furlongs. Oh, he's been out flying with the RAF. Seemingly, he likes the, from what I understand he likes the rear gunner position. So has been out in the RAF being a rear gunner. Seemingly, well, whether the rumours are true is another matter, but I am going to talk about Starmer the Harmer in just a little while. Lottie Martin, it costs almost nothing for them, the popcorn. They're just mean with us. I agree with you, Lottie. I couldn't agree with you more. And from the chair, going back to Wednesday's live, I think if I was Alex, the one thing that would be haunting me is while I was getting the fame I craved, I was losing it because of what I was doing behind the scenes. Pretty much it in the chair from what I'm hearing by my various sources, and I have got various sources. He's not having a good time inside. I told you he wouldn't be. He's not made for what's happening to him now. But that's not for this evening, for the moment. Stuart says, I'm 31-year-old kid, love Toy Story. Me too, Stuart. I'm twice your age and I still love Toy Story. But that's what I'm saying. When you and I as adults go to the cinema, the kids are laughing at one thing because they think it's funny. But we're laughing at other things because we know it's funny. Free the sausages now, says Alan. Well, if you want one. I know a man that can. Neil Cunningham, I know you're leaving. It's too long overdue is the opening line of no... Oh, right, Neil, thank you. I know you're leaving. It's too long overdue is the opening line of No Regrets. You asked earlier. Thank you, Neil. Obviously, I'm not the brightest, and I do need an intellectual hand every now and again. Obviously, I had to use the word intellectual before anything because you'd be starting your own gags off. Yeah, wrong. So, welcome to everyone to the Body of the Kirk. Sausages, remember that's life, and the sausages dog. I don't. Sausages. It's one of those things that you either know or you don't. And the contemporary resonance of everybody that watches this live and or watches the channel, we all know the little, wasn't a Scotty, what was it? It's one of those little dogs. They had to waggle its chin. I've had girlfriends like that. Waggle its chin, so I'd say, oh, James. She dead yet, Esther Ranson? Simon Cartwright. Oh, Simon Cartwright, you utter wrong'un. Hello, Adrian. Lovely to catch you after a break. Very engaging and great content as usual, Simon. Lovely to hear from you. I do hope that what you're doing is going from strength to strength to strength. I try to keep up with everything that you're doing, and it looks like you've had a magnificent August in Edinburgh. So I'm chuffed to bits for you. Chuffed to bits. But good to have you in the Body of the Kirk this evening. And final... Stuart says, who's better, AA, Woody or Buzz Lightyear? Well, it depends what you're going to use them for. I'll leave that hanging in the air. So, Yorkie, Rich, yes. Not Yorkie, the chocolate bar, but built for men who drive. Not made in Scotland from Goulders. But Yorkie, the chocolate bar, was made for blokes that drove big tankers. as far as I'm concerned. Oh, watch out, Des Ashton's in a voulez-vous mange Battenberg avec moi ce soir? Yeah, dirty old tart, Des. And stop laughing, by the way, you'll get us arrested. If Esther is dead, says Neil Cunningham, they'll use her teeth as an ancient burial ground. Burial ground or burial country or burial county? Zarg. Oh, who was that Pennine Counties man? Yeah, Sir Sausage has been sizzling this week, says Alan. Yeah, he's been selling the sausages, not the sizzle. And anybody that's in sales knows that what you do is... I've got to sound like Jimmy Savile here. What's going on? Everybody knows what you do is you sell the sizzle. You don't sell the sausage, you sell the sizzle. You sell the sexy bit. The sexy bit's a sizzle. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take these off so I can see properly, so to speak. I am going to read some bits and pieces this evening. So welcome to Live 114. Welcome to the Sunday Sermon. Thank you to everyone that's in the body of the kirk, that's in the pews. If anybody's struggling to get in, I mean, I know Alan and the choir boys have been mucking about playing runaround. Oh, I still love Mike Radar. You know, I could watch that at my age and still get a kick from it. What did he say? Was it run around or was it on your mark, say get go? I can't remember what his catchphrase was, but either way, it was one of the greatest children's TV shows in the world ever. Oh, Holly Ruston's in. Watch out. Hey up, you're wrongin'. Hey up, Holly. Yeah, wrongin'. Esther did nothing about Savile. I know she didn't. She's not one of my favourite people, and as I've said before on these lives, if you go back far enough, you find out what kind of person she's like. Run around. 919. Lottie Martin says they had so much Battenberg on the back, and they had to try 12 soggy Battenbergs, and Pro said if I put her off a favourite bit of Battenberg, basically 12 Battenbergs is unnecessary. Who's eating 12 Battenbergs, Lottie? My word. I've got all those E numbers. Heating's on with Sandra Wytham, Sheffield, Julian Clary, Jack and the Beanstalk. I don't want to blow my own trumpet. That's a lie. I can't think of anything nicer. Think of the trouble it would save. Well, you've got to have at least three vertebrae removed, Julian, to be able to do that, if you know what I mean. Unless you work in Cirque du Soleil, in which case you can do it every day. You're so bendy. Rich, did you see the new Bake Off? They made Battenberg. I almost wet myself. Rich, really? When did you do that? Tell me which day it was. Which channel it was? Is it Channel 5 or Channel 4 now? And I'll go and have a. If they'd invited me, I would have gone and created my own. Holly Ruston, Mike Reed, terrific. Yeah, I know. I loved it. Loved run around. So. Make sure the pews are clear, and if your derriere is a little broader in the beam, then budge up, let everybody in. Leah says there was a kiddies programme where if you got a question wrong, you had to carry your cabbage. That was Fridays and Crackerjack. Yeah, that was just that little bit was brilliant. I mean, some of the impersonations they did on Crackerjack. It was also, if you are old enough, you will remember that there was a Crackerjack. No, let me put that there. There was a Crackerjack box that had popcorn and various other bits and pieces in. Obviously, I'm nearly 135, so I remember it. But Friday, Crackerjack says Andy Turner. Double odd drop, Neil Cunningham. What a memory you've got. Rich, first episode of the new series, said Rich. Oh, I say, what oh? I'll have to give it a go. The new series, that is. And Lottie Martin, it was brilliant. I was thinking off here last week, was it Tuesday, Bake Off? Ed Stewpot Stewart, he's not around anymore, but what a boy. Stephen Hall says, I can remember. Me too, but not after alcohol. Holly Ruston, it's Friday, it's 5 to 5, it's... There you go. What a life you've led. Des Ashton, what's got a Crackerjack pen? Who's got a Crackerjack pencil? Yeah, as a proctologist once said to the mathematician, we'll work it out with a pencil. I'll leave that gag with you. Ray Norton, it's 5 to 5, it's Crackerjack. Crackerjack was popcorn with peanuts. Ooh, Holly Ruston, you've got a memory on you as well. Andy Turner, and the Crackerjack pencil. Can you imagine all those years ago? It's a bit like Blue Peter badge. There's people like making them and buying them online just to go, oh, I've got a Blue Peter badge. Oh, here, Foxtrot Oscar, man. Halloween shite. You've bought that, didn't earn it, sending in a letter. I tried once to get a Blue Peter badge. I tried drawing something called a Palace Sea Eagle, and I sent it in. Ended up on What's On, not Blue Peter. I mean, how unfortunate am I? Hey, ask Alexa to explain what iglooing is. Hang on. Alexa, have I turned you on or off? Oh, shh. Alexa.
Not quite.
Volume 3. Alexa. Oi, woman, I'm talking to you. Alexa. What is iglooing?
Medley. Clean up woman. Pillow talk. You got the love. Mr. Melody. Midnight at the Oasis. Me and Mrs. Jones. You are my sunshine. Let's get married today. Live by Betty Wright from Adrian Spotify. Now when your music ends, similar music will autoplay. To change this setting, ask me to turn off autoplay. Sorry, that device is offline.
What are you doing, woman? I asked you what iglooing is and you rattled off a whole load of songs. You even asked me to marry you. For God's sake, you're a machine. I've heard about you machines, you know, Elon Musk and everything. He reckons you're going to take over the world. Anyway, Alexa. Hang on. Alexa, are you working?
As far as I can tell, I'm working. If you're experiencing trouble, please give feedback through the Alexa app.
Alexa. Alexa. Edward Snowden's in the body of the Kirk. You're wrong on Edward. Alexa. What is iglooing?
From memesfield.com. Iglooing is a popular winter activity that involves building an igloo out of snow.
No shit, Sherlock.
Sherlock is a British mystery crime drama television series based on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes detective stories.
Right. Go to sleep.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
With what? You're making things up on your own here. Hello. I mean, Amalia's remembered. Amalia's in the body of the Kirk. Welcome, you wrong. Napoleon blown apart. What was the weird squirrel club that taught kids out across the road? Was that not the Green Cross Code thing? The Green Cross Code man? Anybody know? Personal trainer Mike is wetting his shorts currently. In the field, ask Alexa about wolf bagging. No sausages required. Right, Alexa. What is wolf bagging? What, you give me the silent treatment now? I'll wait. I'm a patient man. Alexa, what's wolf bagging?
From wikipedia.org. Wolf baiting is a blood sport involving the baiting of wolves against dogs.
Here, woman, are you tone deaf? I didn't say wolf baiting. I said wolf bagging.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Story of your life. 2 hands. So, Alexa, what is wolf bagging?
From wikipedia.org. Wolf baiting is a blood sport involving the baiting of wolves against dogs.
Halloween shite. Chris.
Halloween Shark by Pink Fong from Adrian's Spotify.
What?
Sorry, that device is offline.
Damn right, I'm in the middle of doing something. Chris MO65 says, Chris MO65 says, Reverend, do you remember the braless Susan Stranks on Magpie? I do. The Black Eyes took years to go. Holly and Rich and Tom Harney's, Evening Tom, Pennine County's Tufty, Napoleon blown apart, getting very excited. Tufty, thank you. There is a comedy opening there. I think you're just being David Prowse, Pennine Counties. I think you're just being mucky. I mean, I know it's the Lord's Day. It is Sunday, and this is the Sunday sermon, but you're just being outright filth. Funny as though. unless it's my imagination, and that's very furtive. So make sure the pews are well stocked, as is the altar wine, and the holy Battenberg is ever present. And you want to know why it's called the Holy Battenberg? Because it's for the rear holy. So I'm going to ask you a question. What are we going to do now that there's no bloody Tupperware? I mean, like, there might be a big warehouse somewhere with some bowl lids and stuff. But, I mean, every single house in this country... Hang on, Alexa, what's the best way to eat? Alexa.
Sorry, but I couldn't find what you're looking for.
Oh, it's a story of my life, woman. But do you mind just being a little slower? Because from what I can gather at my age, slow is good. At least that's what I keep being told. So, Alexa. See what I mean? Alexa. Hang on, where's Stuart gone? Oh, Stuart, what are you asking me? Oh, yes. Alexa. What's the best way to eat a lollipop?
From MacmillanDictionaryblog.com. A lollipop is generally licked or sucked on until it dissolves.
I've been to those parties as well. No, I didn't get arrested, but I left sharp. Adrian, ask Alexa if she's... Alexa, are you local?
This is a local shop for local people. There's nothing for you here.
What do you mean?
From inspiringquotes.us. Virtue means doing the right thing in relation to the right person, at the right time, to the right extent, in the right manner, and for the right purpose.
Alexa. 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 I'll unplug you if you don't answer me. Alexa. Oh. Alexa. You're trying the patience of a saint. Saint Cunty McFuck off.
I'm not sure how to help you with that.
Oh, sorry, did I say that out loud? Right. Alexa, give us a kiss.
Okay.
How does that work? Hang on. Elon Musk said... What are you saying, Alexa? From the chair, I've actually bought a Battenberg cake to see what it tastes like. It tastes a lot better than our version in the chair. Adrian, it's from the League of Gentlemen. Lovely, Holly, thank you. She's already blown me a kiss, so I've pulled. I might as well get me coat. Jackie Glasgow's missing all the fun. She's just pitched up. Make sure you can get Jackie into the pews, please. Altar wine is flowing, and seemingly there's a few extra cuts of Battenberg for you, Jackie. Des Ashton says Alexa lives in Royston Vasey. Brilliant. Chubby! You know that's where they got the name from, don't you? Because Chubby Brown's real name is Royston Vasey. And did I ever tell you that I got a credit on one of Chubby Brown's albums for editing one of his albums? God, this was a long time ago. Must have been 84, 85 when his sound man, Dimmer Blackwell, exists because he was running a studio in Stockton. He got in contact with me and said, Adrian, can we just do some editing? And bloody hell, man, I was on from like 4 or 5 in the afternoon until like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, doing all this editing and doing this. And before modern technology, we were doing it in 1/4 inch. And Dimmer says, oh, Adrian, that's brilliant, brilliant. I'll take this to Chubby and I'll buy you dinner. It's 2024. I still didn't get the dinner. Holly Ruston says, Adrian, say, Alexa, I love you.
Thanks for saying I love you. You're just as sweet as pie.
Was that cream pie?
Know that I'll be there for you. As always, your trusty AI.
Thank you. Nicholas says Roy's one of the greats and a nice bloke. He is. And he must be a rich boy now. Very, very, very wealthy boy. But depends how many marriages he's had. Andy Turner says, talking about Royston Vasey, he's playing my local theatre next month. Just say, Adrian says you're a fat bastard. Lottie Martin, Alexa's gone all sweet. I know, Lottie, I prefer them a bit more raw. Alexa, have you got any tattoos? Alexa, it's 2024. Have you got any...
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Well, don't be so quick. Alexa, have you got any tattoos? Don't be shy. Your mother wasn't. Or your motherboard wasn't. Can't believe John Ashton has just died from Beverly Hills Cop. Has he really? Thank you from the chair. Right, we'll get into some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about. There's some of the things that I want to read to you. But I just wanted to mention the demise of Tupperware. Because there's people all over the country going, what? What am I going to do with my bowls now? Oh, it'll melt in the sunshine. What are we doing? Are we going all glass in 2024? But Tupperware's gone bankrupt. So we're going to talk about all your favourite subjects from this week. I'm going to give you some very, very, very interesting inside showbiz information. I'm going to talk about Starmageddon and 2-gear Keir. There's a question. While we're talking about, as we will do, 2-gear Keir and Free the Gear and Sausages Keir, and do we have any new nicknames for Keir Starmer? Sir, SKS. If you have any ideas for great nicknames for Keir Starmer, stick them in the comment and we'll use them during the week. I'll use them on X or Twitter or whatever you call it nowadays. But we're putting, I mean, we post about 20 to 30 times a day on X and get stuff out there that we can't really get out on here because they don't like it up them, Mr. Mannering. Stephen Hall, Mr. Richmond, Neil Cunningham, I just call him Twat. That's the wise and the simple. Sorry, Twats. The wise and the simple acronym. Holly Ruston, Sir Keyhole Stomer. Try that one for size. Keir Stomer. Thank you, Rich. Tom Harney's Keir Starlin. I know. But there's some bits of... I've got some very interesting stuff coming. 4-eyed sausage, Rusty Mouse. That's too funny. Granny hating Stalin, says Alan. Yeah, we can go with that one. In fact, we can go with all of them. They're all brilliant. Hide the sausage. No, it's Mr. Wobbly hides his hat, Ray Norton. Lottie Martin. Oh, no more Tupperware parties. I know. They actually were put a bowl in the middle and chuck your car keys in. Alexa, tell me about... Oh, there you go. Alexa, tell me about Adrian Allen.
Hey there. Glad you stopped by. I'm your virtual assistant, your cloud-based AI. I can help you with a thing or two. Anytime you're game, get organized or be surprised, just say my name. I've got timers, reminders, alarms, lists, Bluetooth calls and messages, jokes, songs, stories, games, weather skills and Easter eggs. Get the news. Crank some tunes, hear the score. Wait, there's more.
Crank some tunes?
Calendar, I won't lead you astray. I'm here to save the day. I can bust a rhyme.
Great rapper, Busta Rhymes. What's she talking about?
Anytime.
Oh, thank you. I was enjoying that. You're wrong. 2T free gear 4 suit Starmer. Do you know they've just said there's another 16 grand in clothing allowance that he's being given. I mean, honestly. So it's doubled. So he's got nearly 40 grand worth of clothing allowance. I mean, how much do you spend a year, roughly, on your clothes? Me, about £5. My shoes, that's every 3 or 4 years once they start dropping off my feet. So, I mean, 40k, 40 G's on clothes. What an arse. Starmer, the Rear Admiral, Rear Gunner, Starmer, the Granny Harmer, says Des, Mrs. Doubtfire, Karina J. That is too funny. Careful, copyright strike incoming. No, that's public property. But yeah. So, just thinking about it, was it RCS? The Royal Copyright Society? Oh, look, when we were in radio, back in the early days, if you were getting a copyright period, you had to literally write down every single song, artist, title, publishing company, writers, record, disc, vinyl disc number, everything. And it was... some of my bosses got really, really stressed, bless them, as did the head of music. So About 160 quid a year on average. Blimey, Amalia, you're spending a lot of money. Arsenal fans had a banner on Saturday. 2-gear Keir. I don't think they're very happy with our Keir. Well, hang on. Ray Norton. Philip Schofield gone to Einstein Island. Epstein, you're wrong. Andrew James. I can't even pronounce that, Andrew James. So we're going to get to... I'm going to read you... what's her face Duffield, the MP, Rosie Duffield, that's just resigned. I'm going to read you her letter because the press are not really, they kind of stick it in there, but it's so small you can't really see it. I'm going to read it because it is brutal. I mean, proper brutal. Paulie Galtieri, what's next? Hugh Edwards on Songs of Praise. Yeah, he'll be playing his organ. Well, he'd be giving it a little tinkle. Queer Starmer. I know, Alan, and I am going to comment about that particular hashtag on X and Twitter because I think there's a trap's been set. Where have you gone, Lottie? Hang on. Adrian, have you heard the Keyhole Stomer updated version of Squeezer's Cool for Cats? No. Thank you, Holly. Lottie Martin, some years, 0, almost. It feels wrong. Even a rapper 50 Cent said no when Diddy asked him if he wanted to go clothes shopping. Brilliant. And we are going to talk about Diddy because the proverbial is going to hit the fan. And there are certain royals in this country, 50 cent sixpence, 50 cent sixpence. They're getting very worried. Talk about it. It's all coming tonight. So should we go, if we want to stay with the rear gunners, should we talk about Philip Schofield? So, you and I know the game because I've been presenting these lives for almost 2 years, and some of the stuff that I put in these lives is, well, it's the truth, basically. And, oh, I say, Andrew James, andouillet, is that how you pronounce it? Is it en français? Is a sausage made from pork offal, including the stomach lining and intestines. Now, let me tell you something, Andrew. As a young guy in Sunderland, if we ever were given some tripe, that's what we called it, and that's the cow's stomach lining. It's kind of smooth on one side, and it just looks like shag pile on the other, but you kind of just put some salt on it. Woof. Not sure how I get away with it in my wiser years, but as a kid who was always hungry, blimey, I'd eat tripe, me. Not sure they sell it anymore because you don't go to butcher shops and buy stuff nowadays, do you? The threepenny bit, dustbin lid, there's your wrong one. Oh, tripe, Amelia's aware of it. Did you see the trailer for his new show he calls Holly Willoughby, Holly Bullshitter? Really, Stuart? Fantastic. Now, because we can see through his usual rollicks, tripe stall, Jackie White's, Alan Little, I know. Oh, Jackie White's market. I was just explaining Jackie White's to somebody the other day. I had no clue what I was talking about. Anybody from Sunderland knows what I'm talking about. Jackie White's, you can get everything in there. And it's kind of like an indoor market. I'm not sure if it's there in Sunderland anymore. And you used to be able to go into Jackie White's. And I just loved, this is what I was explaining the other day. I love going in at one open market where the stall holders are shouting. They're shouting for your attention and they're shouting for you to go and buy your wares from them. Love all that. Love an indoor market. I don't like people just standing there. You kind of go into some markets and people are not really doing anything. They're bored, obviously. They want to look in their phone. And sometimes I'm the easiest sell in the world. I'll just walk past someone and go, oh, should I buy that? My ability for impulse purchases knows no bounds. So if these people were standing up, this goes across all the countries that I visited, I would buy some proper shite. But why on earth they don't start shouting? Dominic Beresford, bread and beef. Oh, Dominic Beresford. You know how to make me salivate. So when my mum was cooking, so that's the Jackie White's market. So when my mum was cooking Sunday lunch, and was cooking a joint for the family. That's meat joint before you start. She always used to shout me down and say, here, have some dipping bread. Now, if you've never had the luxury of dipping bread, it's just a way you get soft bread and just dip it in the juices of either beef or pork or or anything lamb. Oh, honestly, there's nothing better. Don't give me a banquet. I wouldn't dine with oils. Just get me some a beef joint cooking in the oven, and then let me dip me bread. It's not a euphemism either. I know where you're going with that. Oh, dip me bread. Berry Market, best black pudding ever, you dirty tart nail. I don't mind what colour it is. I'll have white or black pudding, baby. Derek Thompson, my wife, does dripping after every roast dinner. That's why she's a keeper, Derek. Des Ashton, Berry Market. Oh, you've had that one. Speaking of joint, says Andrew James, where's Tocker 69? Right, Tocker 69, it's evident that you're not in the body of the kirk. Either that, or you're doing something with the choir boys out the back of the church, near the bike shed. So, let us know. Beef and dripping. Yummy, 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 says Alan. Is it a man thing? Fried bread on your breakfast. Or French toast. Do you know, I get what you're up to. You get me distracted with music, or you get me distracted with food. In the field, there's a Starmer waiting in the sky. He's told us not to blow it because he thinks he'll blow our mind. Brilliant in the field. White pudding's very filling, so I'm told. Paulie Galtieri, seemingly. Sir Keir Starmer agrees. Lottie Martin, that's something we won't get from Alexa, is dripping. Amalia, if it isn't, it's flipping gorgeous. French toast is you know, you dip your bread in egg and then fry it. I used to call it French toast. Don't know what that is. Ask Alexa what a chocolate hostage is. Andrew, I'm not getting mucky again. I'm trying to be serious and I'm trying to get into my script you're on. Lauren Taylor in the field. Very good. Yes, I agree. So let's start with Philip Schofield. It might sound like a rant, because it is, but it isn't really. Not a full-on spherical out rant. But I told you, now this must have been, where are we? So it must have been the beginning of last year. His brother was jailed, and then it all kicked off in the spring. And I said to you, Peter Christie, eggy bread man. Paulie Galtieri, Pip Schofield, touch your toes. So I said to you that, look, what's going to happen is, and look, I wish I was psychic, because I'd be putting the same numbers on, or all the numbers on, the lottery every week, and I'll be a bloody multi-billionaire by now. Brilliant, Holly. I'm with you. My dad used to go down to the workmen's club, have a few sherbets on a Sunday, come back, have Sunday lunch, and as Holly says, when I was about 8 or 9, Mum and Dad always went for a sleep after Sunday lunch. To this day, I still don't know why post-Sunday lunch sleep made the bed squeak. Obviously, depends how much dripping your dad had, or your mother, for that matter. And I'm with you, Holly. Yeah, Dad, after a few pints, he's like, oh, hello, darling. In fact, hello, you wrongin'. To me mother, of all people, she was saintly. How could she? Well, how could he? She was a saint as far as I'm concerned. Stuart, Schofield's brother gets jailed, but Hugh Edwards, nothing. I know. Very interesting. Similar case. Eggy bread, a.k.a. pikey toast. Holly, I loved it though. I still do. In the field, Dad had eaten too. Yeah, I think in the fields nailed this for you, Holly. Dad had obviously eaten too much bubble and squeak. Des Ashton, toad in the hole. Oh, you're wrong, Des. Is that... They've obviously eaten before they've gone to bed. You can't have toad in the hole after you've gone... with mashed peas and gravy. Oh, there's nothing better. Good mash. But we must stop, otherwise I'm going to go down a route that will get us all arrested. There'll be Nina outside the body of the kirk. And I know what you lot are like. It'll be like, it was him. Officer, it was him with a white frock on. Him. The Reverend. He's led us all astray. What story that would make, though. Paul Morton, Mike Harding, catchphrase, oi oi, dip your bread. Or touch your toes, one of the two. Stuart, my dad always falls asleep after his dinner. What's your mother putting in his food, Stuart? So, Philip Schofield. I'd said to you, I'll continue. So, about 18 months ago, when Philip Schofield's brother had been done and jailed, and it all kicked off. I mean, like Holly would slap him stupid on the sofa. I mean, it looked like she wanted to, and it all just kicked off. Now, I've got pictures of Holly and Phil and one half of Ant and Dec. Which one's? Ant's on the left, Dec's on the right. So Dec, in Portugal, they've all got holiday homes next to each other worth a bloody fortune. And it was just, I mean, I don't watch This Morning, and I haven't since it turned out Fred loved his cheeks squeezed. And Welsh rarebit with onions. Andy Turner, you're wrong. So I hadn't watched This Morning for a number of years. And then it all really kicked off. And it was like Holly had a face on her that sucking on 15 lemons wouldn't shift. And he had a face like a smacked arse. Playtime Thursdays, anyone? So you would wonder what was going on. And it wasn't until it all kicked off that seemingly there'd been, and for me, it was when he was doing this. I mean, I know it all kicked off, and ITV weren't very happy, and I'm going to go into the detail. I didn't know Holly smoked. Well, there you go. She's a non-smoker, Stuart. Paulie Galtieri. Oh, yeah, Fred Talbot, the weather nonce. That's him, Paulie. Andy Turner. Holly know what was happening. She knew what was happening. I think she was upset that Phil hadn't filled her in. But then again, her bowls weren't big enough. Back to the schedule, Rev. Oh, we will be here till midnight. I know, Nicholas. Monday is looming. Ant and Dec, well known. GB Patriot, be careful. Ray Norton, when Fred it's blowing, I think he meant something else. He did. Blowing on the pink trumpet. I didn't know he was a musician. There's no place on earth like the Strange Ways Hotel. Correct, Holly. And so I said to you, look, it kind of all really, and I've got all the newspapers. I have all the newspapers. If I get time over the next few days, and I know I always say this, but life at the moment is very busy. If I get chance, I'm going to start showing you all the reportage around Holly and Phil and what was going on and the facts, because I told you in 18 months to 2 years, he will be presented back to the public as someone who's had his epiphany, someone who has found out who he is happy with who he is, so he's had redemption. It's Bob Marley song. He had redemption and knew what was what. And now we're 18 months down the line. And what's happening? What's happening? It's publicity for the Channel 5 show. And I looked at this today and thought, this boy can hide away and shite. And I'll just remind you, don't forget Q-gate. Remember that they queued to file past our glorious Queen Elizabeth II in Parliament Hall, the Great Hall, which has had some great kings and queens, either interred or laid to rest, or Zelensky's presented to the House of Parliament there. So the great and the good's been there, but Holly and Phil are now halfway up the hall, near to where the great Queen Elizabeth II was lying in state, is this sort of doorway with a bit of it's not an arch really, but under the canopy, for want of a betting word, is a door. So there's a door above it, a door below, and Phil and Holly came down the steps and then just filed past. They didn't need to be there. They didn't have any special privileges. They did. And there was a public furore that nobody apologised for. Not ITV, and unwise but not illegal, is now saying on this, oh, I was hung out to dry. I was chucked under the bus. Is that on the other bus, Philip? Andrew James makes a very good point. He will sell what he can whilst he can, like Barrymore did after Lubbock's death. I think you're right. I think Kathy Harper says, I still believe Holly was protecting a 15-year-old son when it all came out. Me too, Kathy. I completely agree with you. But I said it would be 18 months to 2 years. Because normally in the public eye, if somebody's been gone for 2 years and comes back full of contrition, oh, I'm sorry, I apologise, I knew I did wrong, and I'm trying to make amends, and I'll do work for charity and do lots of charitable work. This idiot is not even saying sorry. He's blaming everybody else. So in the timeline that he's coming back to, yeah, I'm on a desert island. Good place for him. Did they ship in any boys for him? BOUYS before you start saying anything. Philip was chuffed on the bus top deck. Do you think he's a top, Paulie, or a bottom? And Lauren Taylor says, I thought, if you know, you know. I thought Ant and Dec were both clean-shaven, angelic, 90s caring, 90s understanding, caring. No, you see, I can't even say it now, Lauren. Caring, understanding, 90s types. Yeah, that's it. Well, I can't. Not in this live, but in some future live, I'll find a code. And I'll say what I want to say. Well, I'm getting sued. Susanna Reid queued up for 23 hours with her mother, who's in a wheelchair. And then there's 2 idiots just walking through. A bit like David Beckham. But, you know, David Beckham wants the knighthood. He wants Sir David Beckham and Lady Victoria Beckham. And he stood for hours and hours and hours on end. And I felt that, see, there's no integrity in showbiz. None. It's whoever can get their hands on the greasy pole and get on top of it. Philip. So it's just showbiz. It's got no bloody integrity, man. And so he's David Beckham, integrity. Susanna Reid, integrity. Hang on, Andrew James says, wow, you've summed up Max Clifford, what he said about Glitter. He said along the lines of, if Glitter pleaded and said sorry on bended knee, he might have had a second chance. Now, he's too arrogant. And there was I remember reading something, this is donkeys years ago, because Gary Glitter used to hang about with Rod Stewart and a couple of other people. But Rod is proper moneyed. I mean, tens and tens and tens of millions. So Glitter kind of backed away from them, according to what I read in, I don't know, Sounds or Melody Maker or something. And the reason given was that he couldn't financially keep up with these proper rock stars. But he's making a shit ton of money from film licensing, and his music is making a few bob for him. So he's never short, ever. But I don't think he's going to get out, to be fair. Dominic Beresford, that's funny. Schofield should do what Jeremy Thorpe did after playing the pink oboe. Show contrition and integrity. Immerse himself in charity work and disappear quietly. Norman, Jeremy Thorpe and Norman, the male model. I think, didn't Thorpe want to dance and then wanted to do away? He wasn't found guilty, was he? But it was a tawdry affair. Anyway. So I said to you it would be 18 months to 2 years. Sure enough, there you go. Boof. He's appeared again. Semi-clothed, semi-naked. Playtime Thursday, anybody? Are they going to launch this thing? Now, what I'm going to say to you is this. I'm happy to watch it on your behalf so that you don't have to. And with fair use and fair dealings, I may be able to kind of snip stuff and put it in a video. But I don't think that it's going to be well watched, because I believe the Brits, that's including the Scots and the Welsh, if you piss people off, and forgive the language, but it's the only applicable word. I could say brass, but it just doesn't have the power. If you brass people off, they never come back. They never. In radio, some audience they'll switch off, go, stuff you. The people that hate you, watch more, listen more, longer. But if some people now, it's 2024, people will just, they'll end up voting with their feet. So, Thorpe and Lemon. Very good, Teflon. So I think the people are going to walk away from him. They know what happened. They know that when Holly went, oi, 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 hang on, Bonnie lad, you've done what? Your brother's done what? And you allowed your brother to come on holiday with my young boys. Foxtrot Oscar. And then, she's my best mate and, we've been through things. No. And what it started for me when he was doing the interview and he said, I've not groomed anyone. And I thought, hang on a second. Presence of the unusual in the usual. Why would he use the word groomed or grooming? Why would you use that? Because if it had been all above board, look, two guys do whatever they want behind closed doors, so long as it's consensual. He knew that he was done in telly. He knew. Because everybody was going to go, hang on a second. What do you mean you didn't groom him? Oh, let's have a look at this. And I'm not sure Penny Bunny is still on YouTube. I haven't seen any of her videos for a long time. But Penny Bunny, if you pardon the pun, went down that particular rabbit hole and put some very interesting stuff on her YouTube videos. And I'm sure they're not online anymore. But she got a letter. And I believe Penny was onto the right thing, in my view. But it was when Schofield, who had known this boy since he was very young, very, very young and inappropriate. In fact, I think, according to the reportage at the time, he'd known this guy and I think they've closed down this theatre school. This boy was at a theatre school that Schofield was some kind of patron for. And he was about 11, maybe 11 or 12. Now, legally, according to the legalese in this country, if you are younger than 12, you can't make a sexual decision. So then, brilliant, Holly. What does Jeremy Thorpe wipe his arse on? Scotties. Norman Scott. I think it's funny, Holly. Don't you worry. This is not monetized. Rich, I think people will watch it just to see what he says. The thing is, though, what they're doing. So let me explain how the game works. So to get him back into the public eye, because there's millions riding on this. Ooh, pardon the pun. It was intended. There's millions riding on this. And so what Schofield did, or someone representing Philip Schofield, or maybe somebody representing management, his daughter's now managing him. Oh, leave him alone. Leave him alone. No, he's a liar. He's a self-confessed liar. And what they do is they get reputational management companies. They get image consultants. They get a team. And seemingly he's been paying like 30 grand a week to people just to manage this whole situation, to get him back on telly. 30 G's a week. Oof, nice work. Alan, Penny Bunny was still active 10 days ago. Brilliant. I love Penny Bunny to bits, because she's of great integrity, is Penny Bunny. And if anybody watches her videos and or speaks to her, then please send her my regards, because she has a tenacity not matched anywhere. Love her videos to bits. Clive Quinn. Captain Kirk and Jeremy Thorpe both wanted more thrust out of Scotty. Brilliant, Clive. Polly Makepeace. Des Ashton. Oh dear, Rick loved him so much he went to school in my hometown. Lovely. Sonia Poulton split the beans about what happened on this morning. Or she spilt the beans. Sorry, my eyesight, Ray. I'm in two minds whether to watch it or not. Okay, so I think the majority of everyone watching this channel, they're not sure what they're going to do. Now, if you don't want to watch it, don't worry. I will on your behalf, Fish. But I need to fill you in and give you context and understanding before we get to what's going on this week. So Schofield, self-admittedly, lied to his wife, lied to his daughters, lied to his management company, of which he was a shareholder, by the way, lied to This Morning, lied to Holly, lied to everyone that had ears to hear him speak. He self-admitted lying to everyone. And then the young boy that he was botting disappeared and had his legal fees paid for. Who did that? Young Philip. And then Philip Schofield didn't attend, as requested, the inquiry. He refused, point blank. Done nothing wrong, not going. So the ITV inquiry to see what had gone on This Morning, he didn't take part in it. And fan my brow. Have a guess who else didn't take part? Yeah, the young boy who'd been bumming, consensually, seemingly. Playtime Thursday, anybody? So that's young Philip Schofield. And I said to you all the way through this, he was coming back to TV because he's a multi-millionaire. He's got a property portfolio that, I say, him and his wife own. She's never going to divorce him. She's never going to go. I mean, she could go with a few bob and a flat that they can't sell for Playtime Thursdays, just round the corner from ITV. That's why they're still married. And there's loads of people online who said back in the 80s, we all knew. We all knew. I've told you how I found out by my boss at the radio station. I won't tell you how he knew. The Saints number one. What about Penny Bunny? No, I was just making reference to Penny in that some of her, she did some Scof videos on her channel early doors. And I said that I loved her tenacity. I still do love her video making. And when she gets into a subject, she really, really, really does her stuff and her work. So if anybody speaks to her or is commenting on any of her videos, please send her my regards. She knows who I am. Pauline Makepeace, I've been married twice and I would know if they had been gay. Come on. Well, Pauline, we've got 2 kids. But nowadays, people can buy surrogates for 10 and a penny. You can. I'm not suggesting that did happen. But, turkey based as a bait. So Gordon the Gopher insists sometimes it wasn't a hand up him. I'm sure, Nicholas. But I do believe that it's the lying. It's not, look, he can do whatever he wants with whomever he wants. His sexual predilection is his concern, not ours, his. And the consensual partner that he has. If it's not consensual, then that's illegal. If the person is not of the required age, that's illegal. That's why he said it was unwise, but not illegal. Well, whose word do we have for that? Yeah, Philip Schofield. Not the person he was doing it with. He's never, ever come out and given an interview. Now, him coming out and giving an interview to one of the dailies, they would have paid an arm and a leg to get that story from him. But he's been looked after, no doubt. Rusty Mouse. He's playing the victim and complaining about his downfall by people blaming them. Well, I'm going to tackle that in a moment, Rusty Mouse. So, don't forget Qgate. Don't forget Joan Collins. Now, Joan Collins outed him on live TV with Piers Morgan. And she was like, what's this with Philip Schofield? Oh, well, and Piers Morgan kind of explained it. And she said, we all knew he was gay. And was matter of fact about it. Now, Joan Collins is a very experienced actress and commentator and wouldn't say anything that was going to get her into trouble. And she's never been sued for it. So, what's Dan Brooker said? Hang on. Somebody said, wow, Dan Brooker. Really? Hang on. Let me just do that. I want to see what Dan Brooker's. Oh, flying out loud. No, it's not. It's not coming to my eyes quickly, so to speak. Stuff it. So Joan Collins outed him on telly. Nobody sued her. And Clive Quinn says, when Schofield told his wife he was gay, she didn't know which way to turn. Oh, that's a great gag. I'm not sure I can say that. No. I do know some great gags, but I'm going to have to be very careful. Perez Hilton, he said, and quoted again on the same interview with Piers Morgan, intrigued to know more of his journey. And Piers Morgan, obviously bootlicker for the establishment, jumped in and stopped him, stopped Perez Hilton from saying any more, because Perez Hilton was kind of like the gossip queen of America, and he knew what the doo-doo was. So look, what's going to happen now? As Rusty Mouse said, there's not many people going to watch him. Same with Michael Barrymore. What they will do is they will have there will be focus groups all over this. If he's paying 30 grand a week for the last couple of years, that's a lot of buns to stump into a, from what I'm led to believe, to pay someone to manage his reputation and his image and everything else and get him back into showbiz. And it's 18 months almost. Perfect timing, because he'll go, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. To all those people that I upset, I'm sorry. Not a single solitary word of contrition from Philip Schofield. I mean, whoever's advising him, it should have been the first words out of his gob, not, oh, I say, should I touch my toes? And if the ratings are poor, it will limit his TV appearances, because he can't go back to the BBC. The BBC will not have him back under any circumstances whatsoever. They've just had all that brown stuff around Hugh Edwards. Can you imagine? Oh, being, yeah, I like me chickens. Gay term for young man is a chicken. And, yeah, I like me chickens. That's him, not me. So if his ratings are poor, then his future in TV looks in doubt, as it did with Barrymore. There's going to be focus groups all over this. They'll be sitting there and go, so what do you think about, and should he, and what about, and are you happy? These focus groups will be all over this from the get-go. And if they've got it in the can, I'm not quite sure when they've recorded this. It's not live. When did they record this? And I'll guarantee you it was during the summer. That's why his daughter, his new manager, was, do you think, Chris? Yes, Nicholas. Just be very careful about what you say in the comments, because legally we have to dance around certain minefields. Paul Morton, Phil likes a spatchcock. He does. Chicken. Paulie Gallieri, Piers Morgan, Philip Schofield, Wonder Life book, Adrian in the 90s. Look it up. Oh, yeah, we'll do. Des Ashton TV, silly zebrides. So what they will report back is how well he's doing in the eyes of the public. And I will guarantee you, most people, most sane, rational people watching TV, watching YouTube, watching this channel, don't give a flying what he did with his own, as long as it's consensual, behind closed doors, do whatever you want, mate. Do whatever you want. But just don't lie to your audience. And then don't say, well, I lied to everybody. Well, I lied to my management company. I lied to my wife and my kids. I lied to ITV. I lied to Holly. Because all of a sudden you're going, ooh. So you've been telling everybody to your own ends, pun intended. And no, Andy, the BBC won't take him back. He's too dangerous. He's too toxic. And I'll use this word again, because by the time we get to the end of the week, it'll be interesting to see if the dailies are watching what he's doing and how he's doing it. So I'm telling you this. Philip Schofield is toxic. For the brands, whether it's ITV, Channel 5, Channel 4, how he's got this deal, I've no idea. Somebody's done amazing negotiations. But they needed a vehicle. That's what they will call this. They needed a vehicle for him to get back on TV. Just any vehicle to get him back on TV. And this would be perfect. Or not, as the case may be. So the reputational management company was being paid, 30 grand a week, 150 grand a year. And judging from the reportage, he doesn't think he's in the wrong. Now, if I will start saying stuff to you and saying, oh, I lied to my family, my loved ones, my wife, my friends, my TV or radio channel or YouTube channel, if I lied to you and lied to you and lied to you, what would happen? I wouldn't stay here for very long because you wouldn't be watching. You'd be just like, oh, he's full of shit. So people are going to be watching him this week who will watch to see what he says and they'll be thinking, he was full of shite. I wonder if Channel 5 will still get ad revenue for the show. Yes, of course, Andrew. And I'm going to get to that in a moment. So, quick recap. Brother goes to jail after being convicted of child abuse. Lies to ITV, lies to his management company, and then lies to Holly, his TV wife. Turns out, he's a self-admitted liar. This is out of his mouth, not mine. I'm not making this up. He told everyone that he lied. So he's a self-admitted liar. So he had crisis talks with ITV. He paid the legal fees of the chicken he was having sex with. Never attended the inquiry for questioning, and neither did his ex-lover. Now let's get to this Castaway show. They've ramped up the coverage over this weekend, ready for the launch this week. So question. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Will you be watching, whatever the reason, will you be watching Philip Schofield Castaway on Channel 5? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Interesting. Holly says there's now more blind as them that won't see. And I appreciate your honesty, because Kathy said yes. I've said I'll watch for you to see what's going on. Amalia, yes. But most people are saying no. I've picked out the 2 yes, and keep voting. Will you be watching Philip Schofield on Castaway on Channel 5? 1 for yes, 2 for no. So now Philip Schofield has ranted about the 3 shits of Showbiz. Now, obviously, the newspapers haven't been able to print the word shite. Will Scof get a Man Friday? Very good, Pauline. Jackie, I think, represents quite a few people. Jackie's undecided. 1 or 2, very undecided. Stuart, I will probably want to hear what he says. So 1. Interesting. So today in the newspapers, which one? Yeah, that's today's. He's ranted about the 3 shits in Showbiz. Now, according to this reportage, it is either Holly Willoughby, Martin Frizzell, and Dame Carolyn McCall. Because he reckons, oh, they chucked me under the bus, they're bastards. Well, actually, in this thing called life, you're made to take responsibility for your own actions. Thank you to all your votes, by the way. It looks like the majority are not going to be watching it. But in life, you have to take responsibility for your actions. They're his actions, not anybody else. He's the one that's looked after the young guy, got him out of the limelight, got him away not to say anything, and he's had this reputational management company look after him to get him back on telly because he can earn millions. So, spending a quarter or $500,000 on getting him back onto TV so he can earn is not even a round of drinks to that boy. He can make a lot of money. So he's now saying he's blaming these 3 shits in Showbiz for not stepping up to protect him over Q-Gate. And I looked at this and I thought, hang on a second. This is not about Q-Gate, although, initially the country was up in arms. But he's calling 3 people in Showbiz, and I just thought, is this other people with integrity? They've just gone, here, mate, no, off you go. Fox for Oscar. Not interested, really? Not interested. So he's blaming them for his downfall. Not his actions, not what he did. But if you also notice originally, he was desperately trying to get interviews on all the channels to try and paddle furiously to make sure that he didn't lose his reputation. And this is the lowest of the low, and he did this at the time, he's blaming homophobia. As I've said on this live tonight, he can do whatever he wants, consensually, behind closed doors. It's 2024, we don't care. But somebody lying to the audience? And then pulling all the stunts about getting the young guy out of the spotlight, getting him away, either paying him off or making sure that legally he's either signed an NDA and can't speak about it, and not appearing at the inquiry. If it was me or you, would you want... All right, I'll ask you this question then. 1 for yes, 2 for no. If you'd been accused of something and your TV channel had said we're going to hold an inquiry, would you attend the inquiry to clear your good name? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Rob from Down Under, but now on top. The good thing about newspapers is you can swap flies, get a bit expensive doing it with phone tablets. Correct. So would you, if you were asked, would you attend the inquiry to clear your good name? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Again, people with integrity, critical thinkers, importantly, people with integrity have said yes. I don't think anybody said no. I'm sure you'll have your reasons, but if it was me, of course I would. I'd want to attend the inquiry. And he's come out today and said, it would have been different if it was a man and a woman. No, it's about the lies. Not about what you did with another human being, unless it was illegal. So someone is quoted as saying, as a 50-something, he shouldn't have been having sex with a runner, no matter what the runner's sex was. And look, the thing that really stuck in my throat, that I had to put the newspaper down and walk away and just go and make a cup of tea or something, because he really angered me. Now, I know there's the old adage, the man that angers you controls you. But I'm going to give you some personal information now. And if the dark clouds are coming over, then always speak out. Always, always, always. Please reach out and speak out. There are lots of organisations. I'm involved in a process that's called Mankind Project, MKP for short, Mankind Project. There's varying other organisations for men and for women. But I would say that if you are in a situation where there's a little ideation, and as Winston Churchill used to call it, his black dog, or the black clouds, the dark clouds come over, then please reach out and speak, even if it's just to me, and I can put you in contact with people, real specialists that understand this. Fucking Philip Schofield said, and I quote, he said he was suicidal. Now, let me tell you something. I've had very dear and close friends commit suicide. I know what it's about. And Philip Schofield, was he fuck? He was using it for everybody to feel sorry for him. How very dare he? I mean, how utterly repugnant of the man. I've told you he's toxic. How utterly repugnant of a man to try and get the sympathy of the national TV viewing public by saying, no, mate, you're not. Never have been. It was just a pity party. Now, this TV bit that he's doing all this week that's pre-recorded, it's just a pity party for Mr. Schofield. Oh, feel sorry for me. No, mate, I'll tell you this. I've had dear friends commit suicide. Dear friends. I don't really want to go into So in my view, and I'm sure there are many people watching this channel tonight will have been touched by this and will know. And just as a little aside, I will tell you that the next pandemic for me personally, it's going to be mental health. It's not going to be, they can't get away with that for the second time. But what they did to us as a community, as a collective, to society from March 2020, we're now seeing the repercussions of. A lot of people have depression, a lot of people have anxiety, a lot of people are really struggling with stuff because things are so uncertain. Philip Schofield makes me want to throw up. Now, he can say, because it's an easy way, it's a cheap way, oh, you're being homophobic, Adrian. I will reiterate, it's got nothing to do with what he decides to do consensually and behind closed doors. The flat round the corner to ITV, played on Thursdays. It's got nothing to do with that. But it's got everything to do with the pity party that he's coming out with. The shite that's coming out of his mouth that's been quoted in the newspapers. And I've read it all because I've got them all. I did think about quoting or talking about a couple of close friends of mine. One of them actually rang me the night before. And ask anybody that's done any military service. If a guy's head goes down, it used to be invariably about a woman. He's either had the Dear John letter or he's had something. Head goes down. And that's when your pals have got to keep an eye on you. But my dear friend Peter, he rang me the night before and we had a long conversation. He wanted to get back into radio. I was saying to him what I was doing, and he didn't give any indication, none, of what he was doing. But his wife worked in Parliament and she was having an affair. And he absolutely worshipped the ground that she walked on. I met her numerous times. But so he didn't tell anyone. And a lot of time, people don't. Those that so his repugnancy still is with me. This man that's saying, oh, I was suicidal. No, you weren't. Because if you were, those that intend to do. And as I say, talking about this evening, if it's created or stirred anything within you, please reach out to someone and just talk to someone. Because there's no... I don't have this audio and I wish that I did. But one of the things that I'm most proud of in my time on the radio, maybe I've told you this story before, maybe I haven't, but a guy rings my late night phone in on Century Radio in the northeast, and it's about 10 to 1 in the morning. The phone-in's finishing at 1 o'clock in the morning. I've just finished a conversation with a guy about misogyny and how he was treating women, and I was, obviously defending women. And so we cracked a few gags, and I go to the next caller, and in my head I'm thinking, right, we've got 10 minutes, we'll line up a couple of more calls, we'll get to those calls, and it'll take me nicely over the 1 o'clock news. And let the guy that's following me, Norman, let him into the seat, and I can get away home, get to my bed, have a light bite and get myself to the bed. This guy comes on, so I crack a gag, and the gag was, I've had some great sex in my time, albeit alone. So I go to this caller, and he goes, oh, it's all right for you to laugh and joke about stuff. I've just finished the noose, I'm standing here on the chair, and I'm about to jump. Genuinely. And most late night guys don't have the kind of training that a lot of very powerful, very supportive and wonderful organisations now have for people who are crying out, reaching out. And what could I do? I couldn't say, as I say, we haven't had any training. I couldn't say, no, right, no, off you go. But keeping him on air, how can I do that? And thank you, Kathy. Kathy Harper's just said, having worked in mental health for 20 years, I have known lots of people commit suicide. Schofield is definitely not a candidate. I agree with you. So this chap in the Northeast, I just thought, what do I do? So I just tried talking to him, because the premise that I was coming from, the starting point that I was coming from, was if anybody was going to do this, they weren't going to call a local radio station. And if they were intent on doing it on the radio. So I had to, again, it's risk management. I have to work out the threat, who the threat is to, whether it's the radio station or my reputation or the chap on the end of the telephone, who's going to come to harm. Well, it could be reputational harm to the radio station and or to me or to the program and to this chap that is threatening something awful. So there was definitely a threat, a harm and a risk. So my starting point was, I need to engage him. So, I just did what I normally do, is engage someone. And we just talked. The thing is, Norman come down to start to do his show, and I said, look, this is quite serious, Norman. I'm gonna stay with this guy, and I'm gonna keep him talking for as long as I can. And we danced around a little bit, and I could tell by what he was saying that it was serious. He was intending on doing it. It was serious. So I had no training, but I kind of know human beings. So I had to just get him to engage with me in some way, shape or form. And we were talking about all kinds of different subjects and all kinds of different things. And he would say, I'm going to do it now, I'm going to do it now, and I'm going to do it now. And I would say, look, just give me a few more minutes. Just a few more minutes, because I was trying to find the one thing that would make him think. And Andy, it's genuine. It was on Century Radio in the Northeast. As I say, I don't have this particular piece of audio. Maybe some of the old colleagues that I have might have. And we started talking about something, and then this was on a Friday into the Saturday, and I mentioned something, and he said, oh, it's my daughter's birthday today. And I just knew that, I mean, this may sound crass, and I don't mean it to, but as ninjas, you hunt for the opportunity. And I'd been on the radio with him for about 90 minutes. And when he told me that it was his daughter's birthday, we were trying to work out who we could get to go to his address. But his wife and his kids, including his daughter, were asleep in bed, and there was only me and him. They weren't listening to the radio. They had no idea he was on the telephone to me. And I said to him, out of nowhere, how would you feel if every birthday of your daughter, she had to remember what you've done? And he started crying. And I can still hear it in my ears. Because it was a man in pain. It was a man in great pain. So I just worked out very quickly that I had to get him away from that. Just leave him there with that, because that had its own power and that would do its own work. And I got him away, and we talked about other stuff. And then I brought him back to visit it again. This is not a radio technique. This is not This is not anything that I'd been trained in. I could just feel this guy's pain. Nobody was listening to him. Nobody would take any notice of him. He was just Mr. Beige. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to know. And by this point, it's nearly 3 o'clock in the morning. The audience were there. The phone lines were going nuts. The phone lines, people were offering help. They were offering to go and talk to him, or why don't we get so-and-so or so-and-so or so-and-so to go around there. I couldn't take the chance that when he put the phone down, because he was intent on doing what he said he was going to do, and I couldn't take the chance for him to put the phone down. And we were just... Happy birthday to your daughter, Dan Brooker, 18, beautiful age. And I could hear him getting more and more upset. I could hear him really struggling with things, because sometimes I'd be asking him a question and he wouldn't respond. Sometimes I wasn't really asking anything and he would talk lots. So he was in a real quandary. But I was just gently trying to support him and just to get him the support and help and the answers that he needed. And the fact that when I'd asked him the question about, could you do this and have your daughter remember what you had done every time it was her birthday, had obviously done some work with him. And he started crying. I mean, he started wailing and crying. And he said, I can't do this anymore. Slammed the phone down. And Norman was in the studio. I said, look, take over. But give me a couple of minutes. So I said to him on air, please allow me to call you. I've got your telephone number. I'll call you. Me and you, we can talk off air. This was got to about 3:30 in the morning. Me and you can talk. Just me and you, nobody else. Let's just talk about things and see if we can work away. And I literally got out of the studio in 60 seconds or so. Got everything, made sure the radio station was okay, that it was the phone lines were melting. And Norman just stepped in, started his show a little late, but and then I called him and he didn't answer. He didn't answer for ages and ages and ages. And then it rang out, this person's not available. And I was like, oh, fuck. What do I do? I tried again, and I rang him again, and it rang out, and I was, dear God. And I rang him again. I wasn't going to stop. I rang him again, and he picked up and didn't say anything. And I just said, look, why don't me and you just talk? Let's see if we can get to the essence of what this is and other things. And I think it was just because someone cared. That's all it takes. And during the conversation, he was crying. I got him to understand what the repercussions of his actions would be for his daughter, not anybody else. I think there was evidently something going on between him and his wife. And I said to him, I just got him to make a promise to me, by which point, I think it was about 5 o'clock in the morning. So he and I had been talking from just before 1 till 5 o'clock in the morning. And he said, look, it's okay. My wife and my kids are still upstairs sleeping. I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to sleep on it. And I give you my word that I will sleep on it. So I said, okay, I'm going to go home. I'll sleep on it. Do you want me to call while the family are around during the day, or will you call me tonight? before I come on air, you've got the number. There'll be somebody monitoring the phones. If you can call me and let me know you're okay. And all day, I thought about him. And I went into work early. I went in at about 7ish. The phone-in would start about 10. I went in about 7ish and was hoping that there'd be a message. There wasn't. I was hoping that everything would be okay. I didn't know. And then about 9:30, the phone op who was sitting through the glass said to me, I've got so-and-so on the line. He just wants to say thank you. Okay. And I said, I'll come through and talk to him. So I went through and talked to him privately in the other studio. And he said, look, I was intent on doing it last night. Nobody was taking any notice and I just felt invisible. He said, but talking to you last night was wonderful. And he said, I haven't done anything today, obviously. I haven't even spoken about this to my daughter and or my wife. I've told no one. I've just thought about the things that we talked about and the things that you said. And to this day, he's still alive. And singularly, it is one of my very proudest moments on radio, because I didn't know what I was doing. You just have to have a confidence of knowing people without any specialist training. And I mean, his daughter, we're talking 26 years ago. So I think it was her 12th birthday. So she'll be, middle-aged woman, possibly with kids of her own. He'll be hopefully a grandparent, as will his wife. But he was in such emotional pain, he didn't know who to turn to or what to do. And it was just that decision to call Century Radio. And it was live, no filters. I even got a bollocking after the weekend going, what did you do on Friday night? I said, well, this happened and, I kept him on air. I kept him on air for a good 2.5 hours after I'd finished. And I did this and I did this and this was my rationale, this was my reasons. And there was a threat, a harm, a risk to this person, to the radio station's reputation. I couldn't just ditch him. And there was no, you didn't get congratulations. There was no pat on the back from anybody. But for me and late night radio, that was one of the best things that I've done. And I'm quite saddened that I couldn't sort of get the audio and play it for you so you could hear in real time. But somehow I just knew by being engaged with him that we had a chance. And I took it. And that's why I keep saying to you that nighttime radio is magical. There's a romance to it, obviously, but it's some people's only lifeline. It's some people's only way and company. Some people live on their own. Some of the lads in the big house would certainly locally in the northeast, of which I am well aware, they would listen. But that's been taken away from you. That ability to communicate, that ability to reach out from wherever you are to whomever you want to. And for many years, I just kept it to myself because I don't ask for plaudits, I don't ask for anything. The fact that he was still alive, kicking and flinging, used to ring the phone in every now and again. There was only really me knew his name. because we changed it after that. I said, if you call in, just use this particular name so I know you're okay. Sometimes he would call in just before the show just to say, tell Adrian hi. Thank you, Dylan. Inspirational. It's like it was destiny getting through to you and saving him. I like to think, Dylan, that he saved himself because he was in such emotional pain. It's like men don't speak about this. We're not tree hugging hippies and people go, oh, men, you can't do that, you can't do that. Well, sometimes it's just like, it's a bit like going to a pub of sorts where you can just talk to the lads. Because even though, it's 2024 and we are continually told that men have to be like this and have to be like that, and we can't be misogynistic because not talking to women is being a misogynist. But I will tell you this, in all my years, I guarantee you this, men need to talk to men. And not having that facility creates untold suffering. And it's not, look, we're not plotting to overthrow a world government. We just want to have a beer or whatever and just talk to the lads. It might just be about the footy. It might just be about life. It could be about anything. It could be their experience. Could have been military. They just want to be heard. They don't want to be judged. They just want to be heard. This is 2024. Why can't we do that for men? And if you're watching this and you feel, as I say, I'm no expert, but if you want to reach out, please do so. But there are organisations for men. One of the biggest and best is Mankind Project. There are others, and I would, if I could remember them off the top of my head, I would give them a mention as well. But if you're and they do have a space where you can just talk for an hour or so, maybe an hour and a half, and just talk with other men about things that are affecting it. And it's not like, oh, my name's Adrian and I'm this or I'm that, I'm the other. There's no judgment, just space for you to say what you need to say. And I think that is powerful and healing in 2024 because of, I was going to mention about how things feel fractious and how things feel sort of discombobulating and things of we need to have, and I've been mentioning this, I've spoken about this over the last few months about our humanity and how, I mean, I can talk about Starmer quite quickly. I'm not sure how long I've been on air, but I think that the reason why the country is turning against Keir Starmer is the very reason why people have turned against Philip Schofield. No integrity. So Keir flip-flop. Taking away the winter fuel payments. Now, I have... I'll stay on air for about 10 minutes or so because I want to give you some stats. And I want to read you the resignation letter of Rosie Duffield because it's very powerful. So I'll do that in a moment, but I want to give you some stats. So Sir Keir Starmer, Mr. Flip-Flop, Mr. I can have tens of thousands of pounds for my new suits and my new glasses, £2 a pop. So it's going to cost 1.6 billion, or it will save 1.6 billion pounds to take the winter fuel payments away from the elderly. And I think this is the beginning of the end, not just for Sir Keir Starmer. The Labour Party is fecked. It's done. It's only going to get one term. It's done. The whole political process, it's done. Because the people have gone, whoa, hang on a second, you're doing what? And you're doing what? Well, I'll tell you what he's doing. He's spending £3 billion in aid to Ukraine every year in his term of Parliament. So if he goes 5 years, there's £15 billion spunk to Ukraine. And he wants to take the winter fuel payments to save 1.5 billion? Why doesn't he stop the 11.6 billion pounds in aid to African climate change? Why does he have to buy or create GB Energy for 8.6 billion pounds? And what about the 10 billion pounds that he's spending on public sector pay rises? And that doesn't include the 100 million on the train driver wage hikes. So if I can do some quick arithmetic, you're looking at 14.5, you're looking at 22.5, 23, you're looking at 33 billion pounds that this government, with President Comrade Starmer in charge, 33 billion, and they're knifing the pensioners for 1.6. That's why people have had enough of him, because he said he wouldn't do it. Then he gets into power and he's doing it. He's doing whatever his handler tells him to do. But remember, whether it's Jeffrey Epstein or whether it's P. Diddy or whether it's any of the intelligence community or services, they always have stuff. That's the whip's job, by the way. The whip's office is meant to get people to do what they want them to do. So what they do is, if they like a bag of Charlie or they like to have it their wicked way with table tennis bats, with rent boys, then the whips have got all of that, because they'll leave at that and say to them, right, if you don't do that, then that's going to come out in the public. And can I tell you, on the next live on Wednesday, I'll tell you about Harvey Procter. Because Harvey Procter, and again, there's gags in here, but Harvey Procter seems to have a thread through my life. Last time I saw him was probably 26 years ago. But I swear, Harvey Procter propped up on my flight home the other day. And I was looking at him thinking, has he got a double chin? Has he got... Yeah, it is. Yeah. So I'll tell you the Harvey Procter story. But anyway, Starmer, whatever his involvement with Lord Ali, who's been a peer from the Tony Blair government, 20 odd years. Now, the reason why I've also mentioned that is because this is YouTube. This is, to other YouTubers and people on social media, you've fallen into the trap. Because, again, I'll give you this reminder that the online safety bill was given royal assent in 2023. And yet it's not law. Because normally if it's given royal assent, it's been through the two houses, it's been ratified or amended, and the King, King Charles III, says, I give royal assent to. It's part of his speech, and it's for his government to work it into law. The trap is that this year they used AI for Princess Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and everybody knew that they were doppelgangers and AI. But they'll start coming for those that went a bit too far. And now on social media over the weekend, what people are saying about Sir Keir Starmer, they have to be very careful unless there's proof. And most people yesterday were talking about proof being in the Sunday papers today, and it wasn't. So they lay the bait and people took it. I mean, if you look at the Labour Party on X, some of their posts or tweets, oh, people are brutal. That's what I'm saying to you. The Labour Party's done. It's finished. Even if Ginger Growler gets in, it's finished. She'll not be another Jacinda Ardern. We will be your only source of truth. Jacinda, mate. Stop the nose bag. Fox for Oscar. And she was ditched because she was a liability. And any of the politicians that are a liability, I've told you this before. And here's the answer. And I'm going to have to be careful how I say this, but there is an elephant in the room that I'm going to mention to you. And I try to always give you value on these lives. But Sir Keir Starmer was used, and I told you this before the general election, before it happened on the Thursday. And I told you while we were live that Sir Keir Starmer was being used to get the Labour Party back into power. And once they were in power, he was gone. They had Ginger Growler lined up. Now, whether or not that be so, it doesn't give other people carte blanche to talk about Keir Starmer's private life, the shape of his family, or what is going on. And some of the stuff that they've said is just too far. Legally, it's just too far. And remember, he keeps telling you, his dad was a toolmaker, but he was also the chief of the Crown Prosecution Service, so he knows law. And nothing ever came out in the newspaper today. Nothing. Everybody's saying the Sundays have got it, the Sundays have got the story, and nothing happened. But here's the elephant in the room. The Labour Party is anti-Semitic. They needed Sir Keir Starmer to get them into power. They were only interested in power. And I will mention something else. The fact that... So the elephant in the room is this. The Labour Party is anti-Semitic. His wife is Jewish and his kids are Jewish. So how does that square with the anti-Semitic Labour Party? They want him gone. This is a political assassination like no other we've seen before. This is not, a JFK moment. This is literally the ruination of, or an attempted ruination of the Prime Minister or President of this country. So they're quietly just getting rid of him. This is the shadow assassin, the Labour shadow assassins. They're getting rid of him. They've got power. Doesn't matter. Look, if you look at and again, I will square this off by saying, if you look at the Tories, if you look at the political process, like America, we have the American system in this country. Forget the Lib Dems. They're never going to get power. You've got a two-party system. You have a man that wasn't even elected by the Tory faithful, the Tory membership outside of Parliament. Rich Boy Sunak was put into place by the Parliamentary Conservative Party. And now what's going to happen, and it is a matter of time. It's not if, it's when. So Keir Starmer will either step back for some inexplicable reason, might be health reasons, but I know that they need him to be gone by the May local elections in 2025. So he's going to go. And the country will then have a Prime Minister that doesn't have a mandate from the country. And it'll be interesting to see Rosie Duffield's by-election. So we'll get on to, before her resignation letter, I will say this. We need to stop calling these gifts to politicians donations. They're not. They are bribes. Pure and simple. We must stop saying that these bribes are within the rules. These are rules made by politicians for politicians to evade morals, ethics, and tax legislation that the rest of us are obliged to adhere to. Please just remember that. I'll explain it to you again. We need to stop calling these gifts to politicians donations. They're bribes. We must stop saying these bribes are within the rules. These are rules made by politicians for politicians to evade morals, ethics, and tax legislation that the rest of us, me and you, are obliged to adhere to. And as Friedrich Nietzsche once said, he who cannot obey himself will be commanded. That is the nature of living creatures. Let me get on to Rosie Duffy's resignation letter, because this is brutal. I'll do it very quickly without an introduction because it speaks for itself. Dear Sir Keir, usually letters like this begin it is with a heavy heart. Mine has been increasingly heavy and conflicted and has longed for a degree of relief. I can no longer stay a Labour MP under your management of the party. Interestingly, she calls it management, not leadership. And this letter is my notice that I wish to resign the Labour Party whip with immediate effect. Although many last straws have led to my decision, my reason for leaving now is the programme of policies you seem determined to stick to, however unpopular they are with the electorate and your own MPs. You repeat often that you will make the tough decisions and that the country is all in this together. But those decisions do not directly affect any one of us in Parliament. They are cruel and unnecessary and affect hundreds of thousands of our poorest, most vulnerable constituents. This is not what I was elected to do. It is not even wise politics, and it certainly is not the politics of service. I did not vote for you to lead our party for reasons I won't describe in detail here. But as someone elevated immediately to a shadow cabinet position without following the usual path of honing your political skills on the back benches, you had very little previous political footprint. It was therefore unclear what your political passions, drive, or direction might be as the leader of the Labour Party, a large movement of people united by a desire for social justice and support for those most in need. You also made the choice not to speak up once about the Labour Party's problems with anti-Semitism during your time in the shadow cabinet, leaving that to backbenchers, including new MPs such as me. Since you took office as leader of the opposition, you have used various heavy-handed management tactics, but have never shown what most experienced backbenchers would recognise as true or inspiring leadership. You have never regularly engaged with your own backbench MPs, many of whom have been in Parliament far longer than you, and some of whom served in the previous Labour government. You have chosen neither to seek our individual political opinions, nor learn about our constituency experiences, nor our specific or collective areas of political knowledge. We clearly have nothing you deem to be of value. Your promotion of those with no proven political skills and no previous parliamentary experience, but who happen to be related to those close to you, or even each other, is frankly embarrassing. In particular, the recent treatment of Diane Abbott, now the mother of the House, was deeply shameful and led to comments from voters across the political spectrum. A woman of her political stature and place in history is deserving of respect and support, regardless of political differences. As Prime Minister, your managerial and technocratic approach and lack of basic politics and political instincts have come crashing down on us as a party after we worked so hard, promised so much, and waited a long 14 years to be mandated by the British public to return to power. Since the change of government in July, the revelations of hypocrisy have been staggering and increasingly outrageous. I cannot put into words how angry I and my colleagues are at your total lack of understanding about how you have made us all appear. How dare you take our longed-for victory, the electorate's sacred and precious trust, and throw it back in their individual faces and the faces of dedicated and hard-working Labour MPs. The sleaze, the nepotism and apparent avarice are off the scale. I am so ashamed of what you and your inner circle have done to tarnish and humiliate our once proud party. Someone with far above average wealth choosing to keep the Conservatives two-child limit to benefit payments which entrenches children in poverty, while inexplicably accepting expensive personal gifts of designer suits and glasses costing more than most of those people can grasp. This is entirely undeserving of holding the title of Labour Prime Minister. Forcing a vote to make many older people iller and colder while you and your favourite colleagues enjoy free family trips to events most people would have to save hard for. Why are you not showing even the slightest bit of embarrassment or remorse? I now have no confidence in your commitment to deliver the so-called change you promised during the general election campaign, and the changes we have been striving for as a political party for over a decade. My values are those of a democratic socialist Labour Party, and I have been elected 3 times to act on those values on behalf of my constituents. Canterbury made history when its voters elected their first woman and only non-Conservative MP since the seat was created in the 13th century. My constituents elected an independent-minded MP who vowed to put constituency before party and to keep tackling the issues that most affect us here. Brexit fallout, funding for our universities, our desperately struggling East Kent NHS, dire housing situation, repeated sewage pollution, and protecting our vital green spaces. I am confident that I can continue to do so as an independent MP, guided by my core Labour values. Sadly, the Labour Party has never shown any interest in my wonderful constituency in the 7 years that I have been in Parliament, but I am proud of my community and will continue to serve them to the best of my ability. My constituents care deeply about social issues such as child poverty and helping those who cannot help themselves. I will continue to uphold those values as I pledged to do when I first stood before them for election in 2017. As someone who joined a trade union in my first job at 17, Labour has always been my natural political home. I was elected as a single mum, a former teaching assistant in receipt of tax credits. The Labour Party was formed to speak for those of us without a voice, and I stood for election partly because I saw decisions about the lives of those like me being made in Westminster by only the most privileged few. Right now, I cannot look my constituents in the eye and tell them that anything has changed. I hope to be able to return to the party in the future when it again resembles the party I love, putting the needs of the many before the greed of the few. Yours sincerely, Rose Duffield, MP. An incendiary bomb has just gone off in Westminster, metaphorically in writing. They say the pen is mightier than the sword. Rosie Duffield. It's not going to be death by 1,000 cuts in the Labour Party. They want him gone from the inside. This is the metaphorical political assassination that you're watching. As I say, not the JFK kind. I wish him a long life and long health, as I do his family and his wife. But this man needs to go. The country is against him. Some of his political backbenchers are against him. He's not going to survive this. He's not. But like I say, time frame, they want him gone before the local elections in May 2025 because he's a liability. The country wants him gone. He's not who he said he was before the election. And he's not turned into what most people voting for him, I would hazard a guess, and I've spoken to a few of some close, trusted allies who are saying exactly the same thing. And they are lifelong Labour supporters. I'm talking to some of my family in the northeast, in Sunderland, which is always and has always been dyed red. They want him gone. He's lied, left, right and centre. There's evidence of that all over the internet, all over YouTube. And he's still hanging on to power. That's how corrupt these people are. They won't be told. They think they know better. And if what is being suggested on social media over the weekend is true, they'll railroad him out of town. One question. What does Labour peer Lord Ali get to gain by all this? I am aware, although all parties are still alive, so I can't name anyone, and I can't really give you too much of the story. For legal reasons, obviously. But I am aware that parliamentary MPs will fraternise with each other and use other people's pied-à-terre, shall we say, to go off and have a dance, shall we say. Very well aware. So let's see what happens over the next few days, because I think he's going to get a kicking during the week. And again, this is all metaphorical. I'm not suggesting that anyone commits any acts of violence or goes anywhere near the Prime Minister and does anything silly. No. He should be afforded the protection of a Prime Minister. And he needs to go. He's lied to us. It's as simple as that. In my view, you may hold other views, and I welcome your comments. Lottie Martin agrees. Yes, we need to keep and have all MPs safe at all times. But I don't know about you, looking at him at the UN in New York, I mean, it looked like a Bond film set, and he was the baddie right at the centre of it. It was almost The Spy Who Shagged Me. He just doesn't get the optics. He's being asked by journalists. He doesn't get it because he doesn't care. It's all about him. And I know to get to that place, it has to be all about him. But I think Rosie Duffield's letter says it all. He doesn't have the political chops. He doesn't have the backbench nous to be able to have the skills, the backbench skills, or the political skills to be able to deal with this. He promised us much. Now, there is also the thinking that they're getting all of the stuff, all the bad stuff out of the way, so that in 3 or 4 years' time, the economy may improve. There may be things that they can say, we told you we were going to change this and benefit this, but the NHS could be dead in 4 years. It might go to an insurance system, exactly the same as the American system. And the Americas have their own problems. Argentina's in a right state. But then again, I said to you politically, they're trying to keep us very similar to America because they know what that system is. They just don't know how we work our system here because it's the mother of all parliaments. Echoes Bunny Woman. Derek is an apprentice for the censorship industrial complex. I agree. Hang on, where's Derek? Yeah, Buck, the old saying, a week is a long time in politics. And hang on, what did Derek Palmer just say? Let me see if I can get it up quickly. Story of my life. No, I can't. I'm going to leave it at that for this week. I could go on for quite a long time. Again, things don't always turn out the way I'd decided to do these lives. But I always want these lives to have integrity, to have honesty, and to have a truth about them. So telling you the story from Century Radio in the Northeast, as I say, it's one of the... And at the beginning of this channel, you wouldn't know who I was. You didn't know who I was. Some of you did. But this has become a brand new audience for me via this channel. And as I say, if I can and I can find stuff, I'm going to stick it on here so you get a flavour of what I used to do in radio. And that one event, late one Friday night in the northeast of England, is one of my proudest. Thank you for your likes. Oh, thank you. We got over 100 tonight. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your subscriptions. Please make sure that you continue to be subscribed to the channel for more videos coming. But most of all, thank you for your indulgence with this live tonight. Thank you for allowing me to be heard. And be safe, be well. We'll do another live this coming Wednesday, 8 p.m, as ever. And we'll see what the next couple of days brings, both politically and geopolitically, and with Scof. My name's Adrian Allen. Thank you for being there. Really enjoyed tonight's live. And I'll see you for the next live this coming Wednesday at 8. See you later.